Donkey Kong Bananza is here. It is, of course, Nintendo's first AAA blockbuster to be released on the new Switch 2 console. It is something of a successor to Mario Odyssey, one of the games that joined the Nintendo Mount Rushmore of modern 3D platformers. And in this video, I will be looking at the highs of the game, the destructible environments, the intricate level design, the wonderful sense of weight and dynamism that you get from this version of Donkey Kong. And I will also talk about some of the downsides, that tricky camera at times, some of the transparency when you're moving underground, and all of that kind of thing. This audio is an excerpt from the Gaming in the Wild podcast. You can find it at gaminginthewild.com. There is a weekly podcast show that you can listen to if you'd like to hear more from me. And there is also a Patreon where you get off-topic podcasts about things like traveling to Japan, to Akihabara, to Kyoto, to the Nintendo store on the day of Mario Wonder's release. Patreon.com/gaminginthewild, just $1 a month if you'd like all of that bonus content and some blogs about content creation as well. As always, your likes are appreciated. You can subscribe to the channel for more like this. Let me know what you think of Donkey Kong Bananza in the comments. Do you think it is a worthy successor to Mario Odyssey? And with that, let's get into it. I hope you enjoy this review of Donkey Kong Bananza. So Donkey Kong Bananza is here. It is the first big Switch 2 exclusive Nintendo game, other than Mario Kart World of course. It was developed by Nintendo's Tokyo team, including key players from Mario Odyssey, and you can see that DNA in aspects of the game for sure. This is Nintendo firing on all cylinders. It is a full-fat Nintendo mascot game, and it is an absolute joy. It has a Metacritic 91. There were many 10 out of 10s, including from IGN, who said it's a brilliant successor to Super Mario Odyssey and a smashing return for a classic Nintendo character. It was a bold choice to build the Switch 2's first 3D platformer around Donkey Kong instead of Mario, but it's proven to be the best decision Nintendo could have made. It also gets top marks from Gene Park at the Washington Post, who says, as the debut big adventure for the new console and its increased computational power, Nintendo want this belief to punch through. Technology for the sake of play, not just for visual pleasure, is king. Great point from Gene Park there. All of the stuff that's been done here really does feed into the experience overall. This game didn't get a single bad review. The lowest scores that I can see are 8 out of 10s, including from The Guardian, who say, I'm not sure Bananza has the same legs as Odyssey. Where that game blossomed in a rich post-credits endgame, DK lives more in the moment, moving ever forward, chewing through new ideas, and never stopping to pulverize the roses. It got a few other 8s from various sites who docked marks for everything from performance to story, which is not the focus here, to late game level design and other quibbles. I'm at 10 hours in so far, and I can understand the 8 to 9 to 10 out of 10 range, depending on what you consider to be important. If I were reviewing it and scoring it, I would probably give it a 9 out of 10. Not a perfect 10 out of 10 for me, but a very, very high score, and I will explain why in this review. Just to finish off the intro, Nintendo described this game by saying, the big guy is back and he's not alone. Explore a vast underground world with Donkey Kong and Pauline by smashing your way through it. And my capsule review is that Nintendo's first big release since the launch of the Switch 2 is an absolute banger. Donkey Kong is now a fully realised modern Nintendo mascot as he smashes, dances and chomps his way through a series of wonderfully designed, multi-layered levels that were a joy to experience. It may not be a 10 out of 10 for me, but that does not detract from the headline, that it truly is Donkey Kong's time. So Donkey Kong is back with a full-fat, shiny AAA game of his own, and I think it was a surprise to many people that it wasn't a Mario game that leads the line on Switch 2, but all the signs were there. We had Donkey Kong in the Mario movie, we had Donkey Kong in the Nintendo theme park getting a whole area of his own, we got new spruced up Donkey Kong models doing the rounds, and with Toad, Peach and Kirby all getting games of their own in recent years, it really did seem like Donkey Kong must have something cooking. That game is now here, and it's bigger than any of us could have anticipated. It isn't a minor game, it's not Treasure Tracker, it's not the Princess Peach game. This is like a full-fat Odyssey-style Donkey Kong game. It's Nintendo firing on all cylinders with their top talent on the job, and it has all of that Mario Odyssey effort and polish, from the controls to the level design to the cutscenes to the smoothness of play, and all of that Nintendo integration of interlocking systems that just bring the trademark sense of Nintendo polish and joy to the whole thing. And I think it's also interesting to note that this game comes as part of something of a renaissance for 3D platformers. After some time out in the wild, the genre is really picking up steam with It Takes Two and Astro taking home the Game Awards Game of the Year award, with Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart being a PS5 2 pack-in and a very, very polished, high-budget game. I was brought up on Spyro 1 on PlayStation 1, on Crash Bandicoot, on Mario 64, so I love to see it. I love to see this swell of appreciation for 3D platformers. I love that the genre is back, and I really do think that Bananza joins a really golden generation of modern 3D platformers. So to get onto the review, I think the first thing I'd like to highlight is the movement. Donkey Kong feels just amazing to control in this game. He clumps and gallops along the floor using his arms and legs. He feels weighty and substantial, like a heavy creature, but he's nimble too. He can climb anything, Breath of the Wild style, with the stamina removed. He can roll and air roll, which functions more like a dash. He can air punch, and this allows for some fun chaining together of moves. It's a very expressive moveset that Donkey Kong has in this game. And he can also pull up earth and throw it, Jesse Faden style, or he can throw down the earth and slide along the ground on it. Carried clumps of earth can also be thrown at enemies or used for a kind of double jump once you've unlocked it. But most importantly of all, for this game particularly, Donkey Kong can of course smash. He can smash through walls, he can smash through ceilings and floors beneath his feet. He can smash through turf layers, the sand below, the dirt, and then the hard rock at the base of it all. And they all behave differently, by the way, when you pull them up, when you dig through them, when you throw them at enemies. Donkey Kong can basically wreck the whole environment until you reach liquid floor or a metal area edge. You can tunnel deep into the earth and then climb up the tube you've made, or you can smash your way back up to ground level. So while this is a platform game in spirit, it's actually as much about smashing and digging as it is about platforming. It's super chaotic and exciting with fragments flying everywhere, and I'm sure you can imagine the potential for amazing secrets that are tucked away everywhere that this design decision unlocks. And this gameplay unveils one of the most impressive things about Donkey Kong Bananza. The ability to dig through the entire map could have been overwhelming for the player with large masses of land to mine through. But Nintendo being Nintendo, it's handled in various ways in the game's design. First of all, Donkey Kong can clap, which illuminates nearby items that flash through the earth visibly and gives you an all-important sense of direction. When it comes to collectibles, you will also find procedurally generated chests as you mash through the ground with maps inside that give you the locations of various collectibles to go and find. Perhaps the most visible and satisfying of all of these design solutions is the way that the level design draws the eye to opportune digging spots. You might see a circle of stones that invites you to dig down the middle, you might see an indentation on a cliffside that signals that something's hidden behind, or you might notice a ledge high up on some structure or at the bottom of a distant cliff that invites exploration and tells you that something might just be there. And I think when you combine all of these solutions together, you really do feel oriented in this world and like there are attainable tasks for you to do to find your way around the levels. And all of this gave me a unique sensation as a game's critic. When I'm attuned to noticing problems and issues, in this game I was noticing solutions. I was noticing how Nintendo had seen things coming or fixed them. And so I think that this game deserves a lot of praise from a design perspective because it really is a landmine with all of this destructibility. That said, the tunneling does come with a problem that I would say was half solved, and that's the camera. It is quite possible to lose your bearings underground, to lose sight of decay, to not know where you're going, and for the camera to accidentally clip through structures and that kind of thing. There are some tricks in place to try and mitigate it, like an underground cam that changes color palette to highlight objects of interest, and some use of dynamic transparency when you're approaching an open area. But it's definitely a simmering issue for the game, I would say. I think on this, Nintendo is trusting the player to work with the camera rather than against it, but when it comes to offering total freedom, something this game definitely prioritizes, I would say that the sticky, sometimes strange camera is a bit of a hump in the road. And of course, as fun as digging is, it needs to mean something. So what are we digging for in this game? Well, at its core, this game is a collectathon in the grand tradition of 3D platformers. It's an advanced, riotous, expressive, exploratory one, but it also scratches that itch that I've been feeling in 3D platformers since Spyro 1, to move through a level, to find every secret, to get every gem, and so forth. Bananas are the big collectible in this game, like the stars of Mario Odyssey. There are tens of them to discover in each level, and a checklist in the menu so you can see if you've got them all. You'll get a bunch of bananas after a boss fight, and you'll also find singles dotted throughout the world, sometimes behind a simple puzzle, like a buried cage, sometimes in a little platforming or combat challenge that reminds me of Zelda's shrines in the way that they are presented, or sometimes behind a mini-mission, like finding the pips that a little lost jigsaw piece is looking for and leading them back to their mom. But anytime you collect a banana, you get the immensely satisfying "Oh Banana" jingle that sounds like this. And interestingly enough, it's based on an old, creepier version from an older Donkey Kong game that sounds like this. Oh, banana. So thank God the jingle got upgraded from creepy to awesome. Collecting bananas does have utility as well as just the satisfaction of doing it, in that this game has a skill tree. There are all kinds of skills and enhancements that you can unlock for DK, such as punch power, radar distance, collect distance, action time reduction, etc. So as well as completionism, you're really going to need them to do well in the game, I think. You're also going to be collecting a lot of gold in this game. Gold just pours out of the earth as you smash your way through it. There are little pebbles of gold, there are large rocks of gold rolling around your feet, and you can collect them all with a clap. If you've played Ratchet & Clank, you'll know this form of satisfaction of collecting hundreds of little shiny things all at once. And I was worried that there'd be no reason to keep collecting gold. For example, in some Mario games, coins feel infinite and not that useful. But as this game progresses, you definitely need it. You need it for shop items like consumables, juice, extra lives, balloons that stop fall deaths, etc. You need it for these little builder guys to construct shortcuts back to the hub of each level. And I really like the introduction of getaways. You'll sometimes meet a builder who will make a little DK bedroom for you mid-level where you can rest, get your hearts back and that kind of thing. You also get tokens that you can trade in for outfits at stores, but outfits aren't just cosmetic, they have gameplay implications as well, like walking faster through snow or mud or finding more gold. So a lot going on here, but all of these little systems are singing from the same hymn sheet. Smashing stuff is fun, that fun is incentivized by gold and currencies, and the things you can buy have gameplay implications. So everything is in lockstep here, and it makes it a really smooth, satisfying experience, finding all the bananas, exploring the levels thoroughly, and helping DK get stronger in the process. And if you combine this with some really intricate, multi-layered level designs, a fun amount of enemy variety, and some really interesting creative boss fights, even if they're not that hard, then you really do arrive at a very, very Nintendo-feeling level of just gaming bliss, honestly. There have been several times when I'm playing this game where I've really just stopped and thought, this is what it's all about. You know, Nintendo have done it again. And this kind of joyful game design is exactly why we love them. I will also say that whilst I was playing this game, I decided to dip back into last year's Game of the Year, according to the Game Awards and several other publications, Astro. And it was really interesting to compare and contrast the two. Astro is a much slicker, glossier thing. It has that Apple Store cleanliness and those linear levels that are very crisp and you always know exactly what you're supposed to be doing. But it's also very, very sanitized in a way that Donkey Kong Bananza just isn't. So while Astro is a high watermark for platform games in some way, Donkey Kong Bananza's chaos and joy is a whole different kettle of fish. And while Astro may be a better, more coherent game in some ways, I have to say that if I had to pick one of these two to lead the line and to point to where 3D platformers might go in the future, it would definitely be Bananza. It takes risks, it's chaotic, it's not afraid to fail, not afraid to be a bit rough around the edges in the name of joy. I think that these two side by side are just a fascinating case study in 3D platformers, and I'd really like to hear from you all about what you think about the two. Let me know in the comments what you think when it comes to Astro versus Mario Odyssey versus Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart versus Donkey Kong Bananza, because for me personally, I'm gonna favor creativity and a slight edge of chaos every single time. That's it for this video, and I hope that you enjoyed it. If you would like to hear an extended version of this review, you can listen to the Gaming in the Wild podcast. There is a podcasts tab on my YouTube page. They are audio only, but I go into a lot more detail, so that's there if you want it. Give the video a like if you've enjoyed it and watched it all the way to the end, and please do consider becoming a patron of this channel. Not only do you get tons of extra material, but you get behind the scenes peeks at how I make videos and how I formulate my reviews. You also get off-topic podcasts about travel, about books, about film, about all different kinds of things. That's it for the video, so take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you on the next one.